speed bump. Oh, no noise. Boy, this can be frustrating. All right, we got the 2015 Ford Explorer. It's got about 50,000 miles. It has a suspension noise. Now, this is all-wheel drive. It is the sport model. It's designed to go somewhat off-road, but this car has really never been off-road. Now, one of the first things you can do, it's really easy, is you want to go for the hubcap or lug nuts on this driver's side. That's where that noise is very phantom. It's very intermittent, but the first thing you want to do is make sure you're safe, lug nuts are squared away, and if you're lucky, the hubcap is not an issue and it's not rattling around. If it is, that's a simple fix. So hubcap, obviously not on this vehicle. Lug nuts, not an issue. Those are pretty tight. We actually checked that before we left the garage. Now we're going to take it for a drive. And again, this vehicle primarily was hanging on roadways, city, highway, never really been off-road. And this noise doesn't happen all the time. So what I like to do, and I suggest you guys do the same, to start off conservatively, you can go over some manhole covers, just kind of, you know, go over it and see if you can reproduce the noise. And we're gonna hit one right now, driver's side front. Don't hear anything. We're really trying to get a sense and a feel for how well it drives. And right now I'm in two-wheel drive. There's no need to actually get into four-wheel or actuate any of the off-road settings. There's another rut in the road, did not really hear it. So the next step is you're gonna have to get a bit more aggressive. And what I like to do is get to the speed bumps. So let's find some speed bumps and see if we can make some noise happen. All right, it's always tricky too when you have a lot of traffic. Oh. This can be frustrating. There's a speed bump. Oh, no noise. You guys can relate. Noises can be extremely frustrating. And there's no doubt that sometimes you can spend a lot of time. This noise is really not reproducing. What I can say, which is really good, is we've ruled out, doesn't feel like we've got a strut problem. The struts actually feel really good. This vehicle's got less than 60,000. Now keep in mind, 60,000 miles, struts have gone up and down like 80 million times. But in this case here, just the overall suspension feels really good. And it's frustrating. I'm not able to. I'm just going to do this one more time. And I'm not feeling anything. And that gets frustrating, and I'm sure it gets frustrating for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to rule out a bunch of things, get it up in the air in the garage. We're going to look at control arm bushings, sway bar mount bushings. We're going to look at all of the rod and linkage points throughout the vehicle and suspension. We're gonna go front to back, and that's what I like to do, and I suggest you guys do the same. If you think you've heard a noise and it's isolated, maybe to the front or to the rear, don't look in the area only that the noise is coming from. Really do a full sweep of the vehicle, and we're gonna get it up in the air, and I'll show you guys exactly how that is gonna go down. All right, it's back in the garage. I'm gonna show you guys one of the first things you can check, even if you're chasing one of those hard to find noises, in this case the suspension noise, is the top of the vehicle, mainly the strut mount area. All right, we've got this quick strut assembly from Monroe. We're gonna use this as a sample to kind of show you guys what you're looking at as a complete strut assembly. Again, really trying to narrow down the noise that was described that we couldn't really get to act up. And again, it's a crunching, screeching type of noise. Now, here's your strut. Here you can see this is a fixed mounting bolt. Here's your strut body. Here's the bellows. This bellows here is actually a dust cover. See if I can get that in there. You can see that's where it covers up the seal, and that vital seal is what keeps that compressed hydraulic fluid, which is really where the power of this strut assembly is at. This bellows really is not going to cause any type of noise. It is a problem though. Can prematurely wear your struts. If this bellows is gone, you're letting that road debris in, and that's going to wear out the seal. We talked specifically about the strut mount. That rubber is sandwiched right in here from this plate to the top of this coil, and right in here, if that rubber is actually cracked or brittle, that can definitely cause noise. Again, we didn't have the noise on the test drive. We're kind of exploratory looking. We're trying to find something, and so far we're not finding anything. So let's get back under here. here and look at some of the other suspension parts that can cause funny noises. Right, the idea is when you get underneath the vehicle, if you got a floor jack at home, not a big deal, just be safe. Use a floor stand so you don't have any accidents. You're gonna check just about every pivoting and moving suspension part on here. That includes the control arm bushings, that's the tie rods, the ball joints, that includes the stabilizer bar. And what you're looking for is any dry rotting, pitting, any rubber that's exposed and peeling. That's a point where that rubber could be causing a crunching noise. Again, we didn't have that on the test drive. What we ended up doing on this earlier in the day, and we didn't really capture this in the video, is one of the very first things you can do is you can spray down with a Q-Max is the product we use. It's basically a lubricant. It's a penetrant lubricant that you can spray down onto these rubber bushings. Let that soak in for an hour or two, and that may be just enough to get rid of any kind of scrunching noises you had. Now, what's that all about? Well, rubber over time, it can get dry. Doesn't mean it necessarily needs to be replaced, but especially after driving on a washboard road, forest road type driving, this truck's never seen that. Perhaps you've got a vehicle maybe in the same situation where everything seems to be okay. Try the penetrant lubricant. In this case here we use Q-Max. No noise. So it may have fixed itself, it may have not. At this point we've got to drive it for a few more days just to confirm that that's something that you guys can give a shot. So if you got a suspension noise and need help, get down into the comments. Do my best to help you out, and my fellow automotive technicians and mechanics. If you want to contribute to the conversation, we want to help as many people out. I'm Frank with Wrench Nation. Thanks for hanging on this edition.